Stanza 23. Out went the taper as she hurried in. Its little smoke in pallid moonshine died. She closed the door, she panted, all akin to spirits of the air and visions wide. No uttered syllable or woe betide, but to her heart was voluble, paining with eloquence her balmy side, as though a tongueless nightingale should swell her throat in vain, and die heart stifled in her dell. So the lady comes in and she's in a hurry. So she comes in hurrying, and as she closes the door, the I mean, as she hurries into the room, the candle dies out, the taper dies out, and you can see a twirl of smoke in the pallid moonshine. The pallid is pale moonlight. You can see the white smoke, and she closes the door and she's panting because she's excited. She doesn't speak, not a syllable does she utter, but her heart was voluble. There were a lot of things, a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts, a lot of words inside her heart, but then she dare not speak a word because she was expected to be silent. She was not to talk to anybody. Um, that was also part of the ceremonies to be followed on St. Agnes's Eve. So her heart was bursting with 100 things, so paining with eloquence. Her heart was so eloquent, there was so much to say, there was so much she wanted to express. But then, like a tongueless nightingale, so a beautiful comparison. She is compared to a tongueless nightingale, a bird of song who has so many songs inside him and music kind of overwhelming him, and he would like to sing, but then he refused. He is not permitted to sing, and this tongueless nightingale, who was born to sing, would die stifled if he's not given an opportunity to sing. Similarly, here too, the young lady, she has a lot of feelings inside her mind, but then she keeps herself silent. Stanza 24. A casement high and triple arched there was, all garlanded with carven imageries of fruits and flowers and bunches of knot grass, and diamonded with panes of quaint device, innumerable stains and splendid dyes, as are the tiger moth's deep damasked wings, and in the midst, among thousand heraldries and twilight saints and dim emblazonings, a shielded scutcheon blushed with blood of queens and kings. This is a stanza that abounds in visual imagery. You can see all sorts of colors here. There is a casement. A casement is a window, and it's a triple arched window. So there is a huge window with three arches, and the glass is all painted, all garlanded with carven imageries. So you see the pictures of fruits and flowers and grass and all sorts of diamond shaped, the panes, the diamond shaped, uh, the panes of glass, it is stained glass. You see stained glass with various colors, splendid dyes. You can see the color of the tiger moth's deep damask wings, and you can see pictures of heraldries and saints, emblazonings, and a shield. A scutcheon here is a shield of the family's emblem. Maybe it is red in color, stained with the blood of queens and kings. So you can see a wall and a huge casement which has got stained glass, painted stained glass with a lot of images. Now on to stanza 25. Full on this casement shone the wintry moon, and threw warm gules on Madeline's fair breast, as down she knelt for heaven's grace and boon. Rose bloom fell on her hands, together pressed, and on her silver cross soft amethyst, and on her hair a glory like saint. She seemed a splendid angel newly dressed, save wings for heaven. Porphyro grew faint. She knelt so pure a thing, so free from mortal taint. So now you have a beautiful image of Madeline uh, on whose body the light from the stained glass falls. Madeline kneels down on the floor to say grace, and the light falls on her fair breast, and you have the rose color, the rose blue, the light of the rose flowers falling on her hands, which are together pressed, and they give a rosy hue to her hands. And she wears a silver cross uh, on her breast, and amethyst light falls on the silver cross, changing its color, and around her head, like a saint. You see, around on her hair, the light falls and it looks like the halo of a saint. She looked like an angel, dressed all ready and dressed for heaven. The only thing that is missing are the wings. So save wings. She seemed a splendid angel, newly dressed. Save wings for heaven. Save wings here means except for wings. Everything else makes her look like an angel who's newly dressed in order to go to heaven. And Porphyro is hiding in the room inside the closet looking at her. And the beauty of Madeline makes him grow faint. Porphyro grew faint. She knelt, so pure a thing, so free from mortal taint. So she looks so beautiful, so pure, and she's free from all mortal taint. She is still a virgin, so young. She has been untouched by any man, and she looks so pure that his heart grows faint at the very sight of her. He's overwhelmed by her love for her. Stanza 26. Anon his heart revives, her vespers done, of all its wreathed pearls her hair she frees, unclasps her warm jewels one by one, loosens her fragrant bodice. By degrees her rich attire creeps rustling to her knees, half hidden like a mermaid in seaweed. Pensive awhile she dreams awake, and sees in fancy fair Agnes in her bed, but dares not look behind, or all the charm is fled. So 26 says, anon his heart revives. Whose heart are we talking about? Porphyro. Porphyro's heart that grew faint when he saw beautiful Madeline. Now his heart revives. He collects himself and he looks at her. Now her prayers are done and she rises from her kneeling position and she gets ready for bed. So she removes all the pearls, the wreathed pearls from her hair. The hair had been tied up with uh, pearl clasps. So she removes those wreathed pearls from her hair and shakes her hair free. And she unclasps her warmed jewels. Warmed jewels, the jewels that have grown warm because they have remained on her warm body. So she removes her jewels, the earrings, the uh, uh, chain or necklace or whatever she has worn. She takes them down one by one. She loosens her fragrant bodice, that is the dress that she's wearing, and one by one her dress, it comes loose, and her rich attire, the gown that she's wearing, it creeps rustling to her knees. So uh, the soft rustle of her dress, which falls to her knees, can be heard, and she is half hidden like a mermaid in seaweed. So she looks like a mermaid and covered, half clad seaweed. This Porphyro can see only part of her body, and like a mermaid half hidden in seaweed. She stands there so beautiful in all her glory. And she's pensive, even as she stands there, she's pensive. She's lost in thought. Pensive is thoughtful. She's lost in thoughts, and she feels that she fancies that she can see faint Agnes in her bed, but she doesn't turn back because she's afraid that the charm the spell would be broken. So she stands there still, she undresses, and she is now ready to climb onto her bed. Stanza 27. Soon, trembling in her soft and chilly nest, in sort of wakeful swoon, perplexed she lay, until the poppied warmth of sleep oppressed her soothed limbs, and soul fatigued away, flown like a thought until the morrow day, blissfully havened both from joy and pain, clasped like a missile, where swart paynims pray, blinded alike from sunshine and from rain, as though a rose should shut and be a bud again. So Madeline, she lays herself down on the bed and she's awaiting sleep, and she's trembling in her soft and chilly nest because it's very cold, and she's in a wakeful swoon. Perplexed she lay. So she is half asleep, and we don't know whether she's awake or whether she's asleep. She lies there, and slowly sleep overcomes her. The poppied warmth of sleep oppressed her soothed limbs, and soul fatigued away. So her limbs, they are soothed by sleep, and her soul fatigued away, in the sense that sleep spirits her soul away, flown like a thought until the morrow day. So her soul has escaped from her body, and because she has entered the land of slumber, and her soul will not be back till the next day. Blissfully haven both from joy and pain, flown like a thought until the morrow day, blissfully haven from both joy and pain. And for the time being, Madeline is safe. She's heavened, she's protected both from joy and pain, because she has entered a realm beyond all this. She is sleeping very peacefully, clasped like a missile where swart paynims pray, blinded alike from sunshine and from rain, as though a rose should shut and be a bud again. And so you can see such beautiful comparisons here. Uh, the sleeping Madeline is compared to a missal. Missal is a prayer book, and paynims are non-Christians, the infidels of the medieval times. Swart, people with dark skin, swarthy skin, non-Christians. So in a country where Swat paynims live, the Christian prayer book would be closed, it would be clasped. So that is how Madeline is asleep now. She is closed, her mind is closed, her soul has left, her body is at rest. So she is like a closed prayer book in the land of non-Christians. And again, she is compared to a rose that would shut and be a bud again, and be safe from the sunshine and from the rain. So two beautiful similes to describe the young sleeping lady. Stanza 28. Stolen to this paradise, and so entranced, Porphyro gazed upon her empty dress and listened to her breathing, if it chanced to wake into a slumberous tenderness, which when he heard, that minute did he bless and breathed himself, then from the closet crept, noiseless as fear in a wide wilderness, and over the hushed carpet silent stepped, and between the curtains peeped, where lo, how fast she slept. So this was paradise, this room at present where you have the sleeping Madeline who resembles an angel, and who is now immersed in blissful sleep, and the very room where you have the moonlight playing in entrancing colors through the stained glass. So this very room has the look of a paradise. And so into this paradise, stolen into this paradise. So we know that Porphyro is already here. in this paradise. So he is entranced. He looks at her. He looks at her empty dress that is lying there, and he listens. He kind of is holding his breath because he doesn't want even his breath to disturb her sleep, and he listens to her breathing, and he waits for her, her breathing to go steady into a slumberous tenderness, because you know that a person who's sleeping breathes in a steady manner. He waits for that, and when he is sure that she has fallen into deep sleep, he blesses that minute and he breathed himself. Means only then did he heave a loud breath. And then slowly he comes out of the closet in which he was hiding, and noiseless he comes out over the hushed carpet. So the hushed carpet, you have thick carpets in the room, and hushed carpet here, it's actually a transferred epithet, because it is not the carpet that is hushed, but it is the footsteps of this Porphyro that is hushed. And so with hushed footsteps he walks over the carpet, silent. He steps, and between he comes to her bed. It has curtains drawn all around it. He comes to the curtains and he slowly peeps in through the curtains. 29. Then by the bedside, where the faded moon make a dim silver twilight, soft he set a table, and half anguished threw thereon a cloth of woven crimson, gold, and jet. Oh, for some drowsy Morphean amulet! The boisterous midnight festive clarion, the kettle drum, the far-heard clarinet affray his ears, though but in dying tone. The hall door shuts again, and all the noise is gone. So then he slowly he peeps in through the curtains, and then he moves away and he sets up. There is a table there, and he begins to set the table. There is the moonlight coming in, the faded moon, because the time is slowly passing, and he he spreads a cloth of woven crimson, gold, and jet, and he can hear the faraway music. When some hall door opens, he can hear the noise, and he is startled for a moment. He can hear the noise of the clarinet and the kettle drum in a dying tone, and the hall door shuts again. Again the noise is gone. It is silence once again. Now stanza 30. And still she slept, an azure-lidded sleep, in blanched linen, smooth and lavendered, while he forth from the closet brought a heap of candied apple, quince and plum and gourd, with jellies soother than the creamy curd, and lucent syrups tinged with cinnamon, manna and dates in argosy transferred from Fez, and spice dainties every one from silken Samarkand to cedared Lebanon. So now you can see him spreading the table with all sorts of delicacies so that she can feast on them when she wakes up after her sleep. So while she sleeps an azure-lidded sleep, blanched linen, the bedclothes are linen. It's white, it is smooth, it's lavendered, scented with lavender, because lavender is supposed to have a sweet smell. In those days it was a practice to place sprigs of lavender amidst the folded clothes so that the clothes would have the smell of lavender. So she is laying asleep she is lying asleep in a clean bed of white, smooth and lavendered linen, fast asleep, while he, without any noise, he heaps the table with delicacies. There are candied apples, quince and plum, candied in the sense apples that have been soaked in sugar syrup, and then there are jellies soother than the creamy curd. So all sorts of delicacies, lucent syrups tinged with cinnamon. So there are syrups flavored with cinnamon. There is manna and dates in argosy transferred from Fez. Now, these are all food items that have been brought from the Middle East, from the Arabian lands, from Samarkand and Lebanon and Fez and all these peoples. They have been shipped there. Argosy is uh, the argosy is what you bring. The argosy is the goods that are transferred in the ship. So all these things, spice dainties, all of them have been brought from Samarkand and Lebanon. And so you understand that this is a very fluent household. The people there are noblemen who live in great luxury, because all these items mentioned are not available to poor people. Only the rich can afford such extravagance. So everything is laid down. And Porphyro too comes from a similar background. That is why he too is not taken aback by all these things, because he too is familiar with all these things. So he takes them and heaps them on the table. Stanza 31. These delicates he heaped with glowing hand on golden dishes and baskets bright of wreathed silver. Sumptuous they stand in the retired quiet of the night, filling the chilly room with perfume light. And now, my love, my seraph fair, awake. Thou art my heaven, and I thine eremite. Open thine eyes for meek St. Agnes' sake, or I shall drowse beside thee, so my soul doth ache. So then he arranges all these items on the table with a glowing hand. Why is it a glowing hand? Because the light of the moon falls on his hand. And there are golden dishes and silver baskets, wreathed silver, in the sense that they are it is not just a plain basket, it is a designed ones. Those are designed baskets of wreathed silver, and so he arranges everything, and the whole room is, though it is chilly, it is kind of bathed in a perfume light. And then he goes next to her. He moves close to the sleeping Madeline and whispers to her, now, my love, my seraph, fair seraph is angel, wake up. You are my heaven, and I am your eremite worshipper, hermit. So please wake up, open your eyes. For the sake of Saint Agnes, please open your eyes. If you take any longer, I am going to faint here. I'm so drunk with your beauty that I will fall here any moment. So please wake up. He whispers in her ears. Now, in these stanzas, the past few stanzas, you can see that these stanzas are rich in images. You have all sorts of images, visual imagery, where you can see a lot of colors, and then you have even tactile imagery, where you can feel the smoothness of the silk and of the linen, and you also have the olfactory senses awakened, because he talks about lavendered linen, and all the smell of cinnamon and the dates. So all sorts of imageries are used. Stanza 32. Thus whispering, his warm, unnerved arm sank in her pillow. Shaded was her dream by the dusk curtains. 'Twas a midnight charm, impossible to melt as iced stream. The lustrous salvers in the moonlight gleam, broad golden fringe upon the carpet lies. It seemed he never, never could redeem from such a steadfast spell his lady's eyes. So mused awhile, entoiled in woofed fantasies. So he whispers to her, and he goes close to her, and his arm sinks on her soft pillow. But then she doesn't wake up, because she was immersed in a midnight charm, and it was impossible to melt that charm. It was impossible to redeem her from that, because he compares this her charmed sleep to an iced stream. It's a frozen stream, and it's not easy to melt that stream. So similarly here, this young girl was immersed in a dreamy slumber, and it was not easy to bring her out from there without, he didn't want to shock her into awakening. So he kept whispering softly to her. And again, you can see the play of light in the room. The salvers or the plates, they are gleaming in the moonlight, and there is the golden light falling on the carpets. And it seemed that he can never bring her back from her sleep, where in a sleep where she is dreaming of all sorts of fantastic creatures, woofed fantasies, where she is shut down from all external realities. Now, stanza 33. Awakening up, he took her hollow lute, tumultuous, and in chords that tenderest be, he played an ancient ditty, long since mute, in province called La Belle Dame sans Mercy. Close to her ear touching the melody, wherewith disturbed she uttered a soft moan. He ceased, she panted quickly, and suddenly her blue afraid eyes wide open shone. Upon his knees he sank, pale as smooth sculptured stone. So, in a desperate attempt to awaken her from her sleep, but then he didn't want to shake her up. So, he looked around, he saw her lute there, musical instrument which she used to play. It was placed there, and so he took up her lute and he began to play tender chords of music. He played an ancient ditty, a very famous old song, which is called in the province, it is called, Provence is a place in France, so there it is called La Belle Dame sans Mercy. Now this name, uh, this is the name of a song, and this very name Keats has used for one of his popular poems. And so Porphyro, started playing the tune of this La Belle Dame sans Mercy close to the sleeping Madeline's ears. And the music penetrates into her sleep-numbed brain, and her sleep is kind of disturbed. She utters a soft moan. He stops playing the music, and he stands still. She pants, and she wakes up. Her eyes, her blue eyes, are suddenly wide open. And he, right in the place where he stands, he falls to his knees, pale as a smooth sculptured stone, like a statue made of marble. He sinks to his uh, knees and stays still right in front of her. Now, stanza 34. Her eyes were open, but she still beheld, now wide awake, the vision of her sleep. There was a painful change that nigh expelled the blisses of a dream so pure and deep, at which fair Madeline began to weep, and mourn forth witless words with many a sigh, while still her gaze on Porphyro would keep, who knelt with joined hands and piteous eye, fearing to move or speak, she looked so dreamingly. So she now Madeline's eyes are open and she is looking right in front of her, and her eyes fall on the kneeling Porphyro. And now she's wide awake, but then even though she's awake, she still sees in front of her the vision of her sleep. Now, what does that mean? That in her dream, she had actually seen Porphyro. So her penance that she undertook on the eve of St. Agnes had borne fruit, and she had, in truth, in her dream, dreamt of her lover Porphyro. So now she has been awakened by the music, and she opens her eyes and she's perplexed. She's totally confused because she's awake, but yet in front of her she sees the very same person. There was painful change that nigh expelled the bliss. So there was some change because now she's awake, but yet that nigh expelled the blisses of her dream so pure and deep, at which fair Madeline began to weep. So now she woke up and she knows that she's awake, and now she begins to weep because her dream has been broken, and she murmurs witless words with many a sigh. She's unhappy that her dream is broken. And while she's still looking at Porphyro, who is kneeling there motionless with joined hands and piteous eye, and he is scared to move or speak, she looks so dreamingly at him, and she weeps because she is confused. She doesn't know whether she is dreaming or whether she's awake. And thinking that what she's seeing in front of him is uh, the Porphyro in her dream, she speaks to him. Stanza 35. Ah, Porphyro, said she, but even now thy voice was its sweet treble in my ear, made tunable with every sweetest vow, and those sad eyes were spiritual and clear. How changed thou art, how pallid, chill, and drear! Give me that voice again, my Porphyro, those looks immortal, those complainings dear. Oh, leave me not in this eternal woe, for if thou diest, my love, I know not where to go. So, not knowing that it is the real Porphyro in front of her, thinking that she is addressing Porphyro in her dream, she tells him, Porphyro, even now, just a moment ago, I heard your sweet voice in my ear, and you said a lot of sweet things. Your eyes were so beautiful, so spiritual and clear. But now, looking at you, you are pale and chill. You look like a dead man. So, speak again and look at me and tell me the very same things that you told me earlier, because I don't want you to die. She's confused. She wonders whether he's already dead and gone because he looks so pale. So she says, don't leave me in this eternal woe, because if you die, I know not where to go. Now, stanza 36. Beyond a mortal man impassioned far at these voluptuous accents, he arose ethereal flushed and like a throbbing star, seen amid the sapphire heavens' deep repose. Into her dream he melted, as the rose blendeth its odor with the violet, solution sweet. Meantime, the frost wind blows like love's alarm pattering the sharp sleet against the window panes. St. Agnes's moon had set. So now, when he listens to her impassioned cry, he's beyond himself. He understands. He's so happy to realize that so happy to realize that his dear Madeline had dreamt of him on Saint Agnes's Eve. So it is now clear that the gods themselves have accepted them as a pair, as a couple. So he's so happy, and he immediately rises up from his kneeling posture, and he parts the curtains, and he gets onto the bed, and that is why he says into her dream he melted. So she is still in a delirious state, not knowing whether it's a dream or real or reality. So he gets up and gets onto the bed, like a rose blending its odor with the violet, two two very sweet scents fused together, blending together. Same way, he gets onto the bed and gathers her in his arms. And in the meantime, Saint Agnes's moon had set. So the time for the visions inspired by, blessed by Saint Agnes is over, and now a rain has started outside like a love's alarm. The rain batters onto the windows as if to warn them, as if to awaken, as if to warn and awaken the enamored lovers. Stanza 37. 'Tis dark, quick pattereth the flaw-blown sleet. This is no dream, my bride, my Madeline. No, that those two lines are spoken by Porphyro. He tells her this is not a dream. You can listen to the uh, sleet, the rain falling outside. The flaw blown means the water, the water which is mixed with dirt. You can see, you can hear the pattering of the sleet on the window, and it is dark. This is not a dream. Wake up, Madeline, my bride. And then the next lines are spoken by Madeline. She says, "It is dark, and the eyes gust still rave and beat. No dream, alas, alas, the woe is mine. Porphyro will leave me here to fade and pine." So she says, "Oh no, if this is not a dream, if the rain and the darkness is real, that means that Porphyro will soon leave me here to fade and pine. Cruel, what traitor could thee hither bring? I curse not, for my heart is lost in thine, though thou forsakest a deceived thing, a dove forlorn and lost with sick unpruned wing." So then she addresses this Porphyro. She thinks that he is some kind of a vision, and she tells him that, "How can you deceive me like this?" She compares herself to a dove forlorn and stuck, and a love. She's a dove forlorn and lost with sick unpruned wing. So she is a dove who cannot fly, and so she tells him, she calls him a cruel traitor. So she calls him, "Who brought you hither? If you are not a vision, then what are you? You can't be the real Porphyro. So who are you who have come here to hurt me and worry me?" And in stanza 38, he says, "My Madeline, sweet dreamer, lovely bride, say, may I be, for I, thy vassal blessed, thy beauty's shield, heart-shaped and vermeil dyed? Ah, silver shrine, here will I take my rest after so many hours of toil and quest, a famished pilgrim, saved by miracle. Thou, though I have found, I will not rob thy nest, saving of thy sweet self. If thou thinkest well to trust fair Madeline, to no rude infidel." So now 38 is addressed by Porphyro to Madeline. He tells her, can you make me your vassal? I would be your vassal, your slave forever, and I would shield your beauty. I would be your protector forever, and I will take, you would be my shrine, and after hours of toil and quest, I am a pilgrim, and I have been saved into your bosom, and I will not rob thee of thy sweet self. And if you can trust me, I am not a rude infidel. I will not hurt you in any way. So trust me, he says. Stanza 39. Hark! 'Tis an elfin storm from fairyland, of haggard seeming, but a boon indeed. Arise, arise, the morning is at hand. The bloated sailors will never heed. Let us away, my love, with happy speed. There are no ears to hear, nor eyes to see, drowned all in Rhenish and the sleepy mead. Awake, arise, my love, and fearless be, for o'er the southern moors I have a home for thee. So stanza 39, Porphyro tells Madeline, "Listen, it is a storm. There is an elfin storm from a fairy land." So it is. So he says, the storm that you hear raging outside is it's a storm from the fairy land. Though it sounds haggard, though it sounds frightening, it is actually a boon. It is a godsend. That's why he says it's elfin storm. It is a storm sent by the fairies to provide a cover for us, to provide a camouflage for us. So he tells her, "Arise, soon, morning is at hand, soon it will be dawn, and the bloated sailors will never heed." So he says the bloated sailors, I think, are the uh, the people who were the merrymakers who were feasting the previous night. They are all bloated because they are drunk to the full, and so they will not notice us now. So let us get up. I'm sure the bloated sailors will be fast asleep. So let us away, my love, with happy speed. So let us hurry away from here. There is nobody here to listen to us. There is nobody here to see us. They are all drowned in Rhenish. Rhenish is wine, Rhenish wine, and sleepy mead. That's another intoxicating drink. So they're all drunk. They're immersed in drunken stupor. So awake from your dream. Arise, my love, and don't worry. I will take you across the southern moors. I have a home for thee. So let us away quickly. There is nobody here to watch us or see us or listen to us. So they're all immersed in a drunken stupor. So let us leave from here. I will take you to a home. I have a home for you across the southern moors. So stanza 40, she hurried at his words, beset with fears, for there were sleeping dragons all around, at glaring watch perhaps with ready spears. Down the wide stairs a darkling way they found. In all the house was heard no human sound. A chain-drooped lamp was flickering by each door. The arras rich with horseman, hawk and hound, fluttered in the besieging wind's uproar, and the long carpets rose along the gusty floor. So Madeline readily accompanies him. So she doesn't wait to think. She hurries, and her heart is beset with fears because she knows it's not safe. There are sleeping dragons all around. So they are sleeping, but if they wake up, dragons here refers to her kinsmen, the great warriors who are now drunk and asleep. And so if they wake up, so there might be dragons all around, a glaring watch, perhaps with ready spears. So if they see them, especially if they see Porphyro, they would pounce upon him and kill him. Down the wide stairs, they slowly they found a darkling way. That is, they came down in darkness. There was no sound to be heard. A lamp was flickering by each door, and there was the arras. Arras, why was the lamp flickering? Because there was this raging wind outside, and the arras is a tapestry, a big tapestry, a huge wide tapestry hanging on the wall, which had the pictures or the design of horsemen and hawk and hound that fluttered in the wind, and the carpets which were lying on the floor, gusty winds lifted the carpets. Stanza 41, they glide like phantoms into the wide hall, like phantoms to the iron porch they glide, where lay the potter in uneasy sprawl, with a huge empty flagon by his side. The wakeful bloodhound rose and shook his hide, but a sagacious eye an inmate owns. By one and one, the bolts full easy slide, the chains lie silent on the foot-worn stones. The key turns, and the door upon its hinges groans. So they glide like phantoms. So the two of them, Porphyro and Madeline, like phantoms, like formless beings, they glide noiselessly through the hall, and they come on to the iron porch. There too, they move noiselessly. The porter or the watchman, he lies there in front. He too is drunk. He is sprawled in an uneasy posture, and he's got an empty flagon. Flagon is a container of liquor or wine. It lies a huge flagon lies empty by his side, and so when they pass by, the dog, the bloodhound, which lies next to him, it though the human beings are all asleep, this wakeful bloodhound, it rises up because it notices uh, some movement, and it shakes itself and it looks at them. But when he looks at the two people, he's sagacious. Sagacious is wise. He sees an inmate, means he sees Madeline, and he knows that there's nothing to worry because Madeline is an inmate of the house. So then, once again, the dog, it doesn't bark, it just goes back to sleep, and slowly they go and remove the bolts noiselessly one by one, and all the chains are slowly laid down on the floor silently, and the key is turned noiselessly, and the door is opened, but the hinges groan, but nobody comes out because all are asleep. And now we are on to the last stanza, stanza 42. And they are gone. I, ages long ago, these lovers fled away into the storm. That night the Baron dreamt of many a woe, and all his warrior guests, with shade and form of witch and demon and large coffin worm, were long benight mad. Angela the old died palsy twitched, with meagre face deformed. The Beadsman after 1,000 aves told, for I unsought for, slept among his ashes cold. So the two lovers, they escaped and they went away into the storm. And that night, the Baron, that is Madeline's father, he had a very uneasy sleep because it was um, a wine-induced sleep, and he dreamt of many unhappy things, and all his warrior guests who were lying there, they too dreamt of witches and demons and large coffin worms. They were all troubled by with nightmares. So that was a peculiar night. And Angela, the old lady who helped Porphyro to go into Madeline's room, she died that night, because you remember in an earlier stanza it was mentioned that she is a churchyard thing. And she even said that she might die that night because she was very old. So she died because of her palsy, and her face was slightly deformed. So she died in her sleep. And the beadsman, after he said his 1,000 Ave Maria is the prayer, after 1,000 Aves told, um, he slept among his ashes cold, for I unsought for. And for I unsought for, I guess that also means that he too slept unsought, in the sense that nobody came to wake him up from that sleep. So he too slept in his ashes cold, because he was also a very old man, and he too um, slowly slided into his everlasting slumber. And that is the end of this poem. So, to give you a closing comment on the Eve of St. Agnes. It's a beautiful poem, but then many critics feel that it doesn't really contain anything important. Though it has a beautiful form, it is empty within. There is no depth or profundity in the poem. The language is richly descriptive, but then, though we may agree with the opinion that it is an empty song, we definitely should admire it for its beauty, for its rich descriptive language, and for the sensual imagery. Keats has described the beauty of Madeline and the room where the moonlight falls through the stained glass, and again the edible items, the dainties, the delicacies that have been arranged on the table. Mm, uh, Everything is so beautifully pictured, and there is such luscious imagery. I don't think there is another poem that is as rich in its imagery. And there's a minute detailing of the amethyst light falling on her cross, the rose light falling on her breasts, or again the rose-colored light falling on her arms. It's all so beautiful, such detailing. So all that is so beautifully um, described in the poem. It's reading the poem is sheer pleasure of the senses. As I told you, all sorts of imagery, olfactory, visual, auditory, because you listen to the music, music's golden tongue. You can hear the music wafting in and out, and you can almost hear Porphyro playing the lute. All that is given in such um, with such vivid detail. And then again, you can have this. You see the contrast between the cold outside and the warmth inside. So everything is so sensuous. You can almost feel the cold and the warmth. So this poem, if not for anything else, it will definitely continue to charm its readers for its imagery and the richness of the language. As far as I am concerned, this definitely is a personal favorite. I hope you enjoyed listening to that description or analysis of this beautiful poem titled The Eve of St. Agnes.